What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Extreme Lifestyle Living. I'm your host, Trey, and today we have Tyler Simmonds as our guest. How are you today?
I'm good.
Good, man.
Good here, man.
Good. I'm excited as fuck to have you on here. Introduce yourself for anyone listening that does not know the Tyler Simmonds.
The Tyler Simmonds. I like the sound of that.
You are the one and only.
But yeah, I'm a film director. I do a lot of documentary work. Slowly getting into some fiction work. I don't think I told you about
you
that.
didn't?
Yeah, but I'm getting into that. And I do keynote speaking. Do my best to do a lot of work, just helping the community, social justice work, mindfulness, mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Big advocate.
I do my best.
You actually, for anyone, I didn't even say this last time, but for anyone that doesn't know, Tyler Simmonds is actually one of the biggest mentors I have for mental health right now. A lot of my aspirations, he's actually already done. So I look up to him very highly. And anyone that doesn't know anything about Tyler Simmonds, I even said this last time, was like, literally do a Google, do a YouTube. Anything he says is worth hearing. He's genuine. Everything comes from the heart. And let's talk about the documentary you have coming out.
Oh.
The Search for Healing.
The Search for Healing came out for the festival, Being Black in Canada festival, a few months back, but people weren't really able to see it unless they went to the festival. And I just released it on my YouTube channel, like a few days ago, actually. Mm-hmm. And people seem to really be connecting with it. It was really important for me to talk about mental health in the Black community and speak to some people that I look up to, like my cousins I have in there. Mario Roll is in there, who's a social worker and runs Nova Scotia Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think it's just so important to talk about mental health in the Black community and figure out how we can make it better. And I'm just trying to elevate us, you know?
Well, I already know you are elevating us, and I haven't watched it yet. I'm definitely going to watch it over the next few days, but what made you want to start Search for Healing? Because first of all, the name is captivating. Search for Healing. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's very... It is what it says.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no wrap around it. You don't have to read it and, what's this going to be about? It is what it is. You're searching for healing.
Yeah.
And I think the name with, I know, like, I'm not going to pretend I watched it like I already said that, but I know that if the name has that much weight behind it, I can guarantee the content behind it's even heavier.
Yeah. The name came from me really just during the pandemic, being isolated and being with my own thoughts, and having having some like disagreements with people and some friction between groups of people, tension, and seeing how I was reacting to that mentally. And I'm like, okay, there's some healing that needs to be done.
What made you notice that it was you that needed to heal instead of keep blaming everybody else for not agreeing?
I think
because it's easy to take those emotions and bottle them up, rip other people apart and say, fuck you, it's your fault, I'm not changing. So it's a very mature view to...
That's an easy thing to do, though. I think I've learned over the years that I've gotten out of that mindset. There were a lot of things that I was like, oh, this person shouldn't have done this, or this company or organization shouldn't have done this, it's their fault. But at the same time, I'm always, no matter what, I'm like, okay, but what could you have done better, Tyler? Like, because it takes two. It always
takes
does.
Two to tango.
Yeah.
Every time.
It's never 100% on the other person, in my opinion.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Because even if it's like, even if it's a horrible situation, you're still 1%.
Yeah.
If you're in that room, regardless of what happened, you're 1%.
Yeah.
And I don't think I know that little bit of ownership is what people can save their lives on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but continue. Search for healing. You knew that you were going through COVID.
Yeah.
The closure lockdown. You had rising emotions that you needed to lay to rest.
Oh my God. So many emotions. I
Mhm.
went on the news with raw emotions. It was wild. I went on there with my, this is kind of funny, but I went on there with my black Scully on and my black hoodie with my Black Lives Matter jacket on. Like,
Yeah.
I'm mad. And
Yeah.
and I was. And I had to get a lot of that stuff out. I don't regret any of it. I don't regret getting angry at times because I encourage people to be themselves, you know? But
Mhm.
the search for healing came when it turned from anger to, okay, what can I do that's productive? What can I do
Mhm.
to help the situation, help the other person, even though I feel this way towards them?
Yeah.
To help myself, because life isn't, I don't know, it's not joy in being like angry all the time or feeling
Yeah,
this
it's like-
resentment
We
towards.
actually talk about that a lot about
Yeah.
instead of us creating chaos, let's take the bigger route and understand that maybe we're both hurt here.
Yes.
And like, even though I fucking hate you, hate
Yeah.
every word that's coming out of your mouth, I do not agree with it.
Yeah.
I'm going to put myself aside and I'm
Yeah.
going to look at it with a fine-tuned eye and be like, why?
Mm,
And I think that split second, we talked about that before heavily, about that's like kind of like our premise of who we are as people, that we can put our shit aside and be like, like why? Like, do you know what I mean? Why is this person doing that?
yeah.
And yeah, it's just like you got to decide to be the change you want to see, as cheesy as that is.
Yeah. It's cheesy. It's but
Shadow Gandhi.
it's Shadow Gandhi. He was real. But
I love it.
but that's the truth, man. Like everyone has a story. Everyone
Every single person.
So
who did you involve in this search for healing? Because it is dominantly about you, but
yeah.
you have a lot of because I've seen like I think like a minute like advertisement snippet of it, and I look through it and I see a lot of comments that people are going on about and stuff like that. Because like I said, I follow you heavily and stuff.
Mhm.
But from what I can notice about it, as every advertisement I've seen about it, it was not you talking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a search for healing for Tyler, but you promoted a lot of other things and people in there, going back to the community conversation. So where and why? Like, how did it come out?
That was intentional because I was like, well, one, I really wanted to search for some healing. Like, I was really going into that project being like, I want to come out a better person.
Did you?
I feel like I did. I feel like I did.
It worked.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
I feel like I understand. Well, I came out with an understanding of certain things that I was really confused about, and it was helpful. And these voices in the community, they're so powerful. And I tell a lot of people, like, I don't think of myself as like an amazing speaker or something. Like, I don't even really project my voice much. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think of myself as even amazing at film directing and stuff, but I do it. And there's a lot of people that have similar ideas to me or have really impactful messages similar to me, but they don't get the space to talk about it. They don't have the ears that sometimes I can get.
I agree and I disagree. I agree. Your legs are shaking. You're like, oh, fuck. What did I say? I agree because people, they don't have those avenues. Like, do you know what I mean? There are a lot of people out there that are great fucking advocates for certain things that aren't being heard.
Yeah.
But I think it comes down to a validity thing. How real are you talking about your subject?
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, I agree with everything you're saying, but I feel like there's a lot of people out there Like, and this is what triggers us. I understand what you're saying, Tyler. I love everything, you know what I mean? And then it's like, you're like, no, you fucking don't.
Yeah.
So that's where I disagree because, again, going back to you saying, we are who we are. So we never think we're as good as we think we are.
Yeah.
That's what keeps us humble.
Yeah.
But you specifically, and I already probably pissed off a lot of people about how I shouted you off already. Because a lot of people hear it and be like, I fucking talk to Trey all the time. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, but it is what it is. And I think it's one of those things that you are real. And the shit that comes out of your mouth is fucking real. You've lived it, you've breathed it, you've searched for your healing, and you talk about it. You didn't get punched in the face by your dad and say, hey, we got to stop domestic abuse. You didn't do that. You were abused, you were put in the blender, you were thrown around, you were fucked over before you found your voice.
You're right.
So you're stronger than, I
appreciate that.
It's real shit, and that's what I'm here to do is I get my energy from the shit that you do.
And honestly, that's one thing I do. Like, that's the one thing that I'm extremely confident in when it comes to me. Like, I can't fake it. Like, it's painful for me to fake it.
Oh, man.
Man, I hate that. Like, if I feel a certain way about something, or if I even notice things happening in the world, I'm like, are people not seeing this? Like, I gotta say something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying, because it's like, whether you're screaming your message on my platform, on this podcast, or you're in your bedroom by yourself, your message has the same value behind it, whereas nobody else does. A lot of people, when there's 10 people, the volume's at 8. There's 20 people, volume's at 9. 100 people, volume's at 15.
Yeah.
My volume's at 100 every time.
I can tell. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's why I agree with what you said, but I don't agree, because you're better than you're putting yourself on there.
I appreciate that.
Well, it is what it is. But yeah, so search for healing. Was a lot of it your family and everything in it?
Two of my cousins were people that I interviewed. So my cousin Sanara States, who's a doctor, and my cousin Chadwick Williams, who is also a doctor.
He's dope.
Yeah, so it was...
Shout out to both of them.
Yeah, they're great people and just so much knowledge. Yeah, it feels good just showing like the community to, like, at a festival, like having like having it in a film festival and being like,
where you sat down and broke bread with the family in the community. You're now in Montreal.
Yeah.
Like, look at everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's unreal. Let's talk about love for a minute, because that's what our biggest, like, searching for healing, a lot of it stems from love.
Yeah.
And a lot of our other conversation was love within the household and stuff. That's why I asked if you interviewed some of your family, because that was a big conversation we had previously was lack of love and over love and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So would you say that with the Search of Healing documentary, would you say that's a big advocacy for love? Like spreading love, like the big change, like not searching for healing, but like just kind of showing how love is predominantly the most effective thing for change?
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. I think love is healing. I think...
Ooh, you gotta say it again. That's so fucking true, man.
I think it's like the search for healing. It could be the search for love. Like, that's how I feel about it. Like,
oh, you're so fucking, that's spot on. That's so spot on. It like hurts, because that's just it. That's literally what it is. Like, love is the feeling that people talk about that you don't understand.
Yeah.
And you really don't understand it.
Yeah.
And actually, this is fucked up. This is what I thought about the other day. I was talking to Emma about it. And love and hate are the same emotion. I can feel them the same.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to find my confidence with love. I have a lot of hate. I have a lot of fucking hate. Yeah. And I use that to my advantage every day. Like, how many times do we text each other like, hey, just listen to this song?
Oh, yeah.
you know, and it's like...
I have my moments where I'm just...
Yeah, like, literally, like, Emma comes home sometimes, I'm in the shower, and she's like, are you fucking song crack? Like, because, like, of how, like, brawlies of the rap I'm listening to is.
Yeah.
Because I got so much hate, but I love it. But what I realized was like I combated a lot of my insecurities with love. When Emma started showing me a lot of love, I didn't understand it, but I felt it, and I found that like when I started to like put my feet on that ice, the cracking ice of love, like, is it gonna stay? Is it gonna stay? You know what I mean? Like each day you're like,
okay, yeah,
you know
I know
what I mean?
exactly what you're saying.
You're like walking upon let's like the analogy for viewers is like you're walking on a pond, and it's frozen, and it's like you want to believe in love so heavily, but every time you try to believe in it, for people that don't know what it's like not coming from love, it feels like your ice is gonna crack with under you, and it's like, am I gonna get fucked over again? Because I put so much raw emotions into praying and having faith that this love is gonna be the be all.
Yeah.
And it ended up being manipulation throughout the communities.
Yeah.
So like I don't even know what I was saying that, but no, what I said to Emma was just like I just like felt it like how comparable they were. It was the hate and the love, and that when you just give yourself a little bit more trust that each day, like I'll give 1% more. You hear a couple cracks because you're fucking petrified.
Yeah.
But the thing you realize, like you said, love is healing. You never fall through. You never fall through the ice.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that I realize that it's like you got to make a leap of faith with love.
100%.
Because nothing makes sense with it, unfortunately.
It's weird. Like I felt love in a romantic way. My way of seeing love was I feel like it was kind of weird before this relationship. Just because I didn't know that it was possible to not argue all the time.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was just how relationships go.
Yeah.
And then I got into this relationship, and it's like we just don't argue, and it doesn't. And at first, I remember it felt really weird for me. I was like, "What are you up to?" Like, I thought she was trying to manipulate me or something.
Man, big thing. That I feel the exact same way with Emma, and I've expressed that.
But it was like, but even when I talked to her, she was like, "No, I want us to work. That's why when you get upset about something, I'm not like
and
arguing."
That's love.
Yeah, that's real love, right?
That's love, and like anyone listening, like. I actually went on a rant recently about going on because it's like that's what love is that moment right there. She's like, no, like let's work on this. Yeah. Instead of adding fuel to the fire, because it's easier to have fire on fire and cause chaos. Yeah. Like the next is Emma said the same thing. Like no, like let's sit here, because my biggest thing when we argue, like I'm fucking leaving. I'm out. Yeah. Like I'm trying to go. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like I'll just remove myself from the situation, and she's like, why can't you just sit here and talk to me about it? My brain was so fuzzy and like just shut off that I was like, there's nothing to talk about. It is what it is, isn't it? You feel this. We don't like each other. What's the point? And then it was just her proving to me day after day, month after month, year after year that it's just an unexplainable force.
It is. Yeah.
And it's funny, you can't find it unless you love yourself.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's what changed my life, because with the whole love aspect was like, I didn't have a good definition of love based on our conversation where we're going, like as I was going to say, like the whole love in the household thing, but like just the lack of love is the only thing that really fucked everyone over, because everybody wants to have mutually satisfying relationships, like friendships and relationships. But like you said, like her acts of kindness, what are you trying to take? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Emma would make the coffee and I'd be like, okay, so what do I got to do later? You know, like it's just always small, stupid shit like that. And then you realize
that's so relatable, man.
Yeah. And it just comes down to it's just so fucked up with how love is that you can't find it unless you love yourself. Yeah. Like you look for it, you ain't going to get it. You know?
Like early on in me and Lisa's relationship, I was like, I had a moment where I was feeling depressed. And not even telling me, she just would send me food. And I'm like, what? Like, this happens? Like, and she's not even looking for me to be like, oh, thank you so much. Like, she's just like, yeah, I just want you to eat. And I'm like, oh, you love me. Like, and that's the best feeling in the world. Like
yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. Like, there's a lot of small things that Emma does for me that, like, for the first 2 years, I just stared at. like a shark swimming in water. Like I'm like, just kind of waiting. It's like I'm not gonna attack, but like I don't know what you're fucking doing.
Yeah.
And it'd be small, like I don't want to say stupid shit, but like small stupid shit that adds up to change your life. Whether it be I'll make the coffee in the morning, or I made the bed, or I did the laundry, or that stupid little text at the middle of the day, or that see you in the morning.
Yeah.
Those small incremental things where it's like their chaos is stopped, your chaos is stopped, and we're gonna hold hands in feelings for this split second. And that's what gives you enough fuel. In my opinion, for me personally, that gives me enough fuel to do absolutely anything I think I can do. Because nothing else can ever give you that feeling.
Yeah. Nothing.
You can't buy it. You can't force it. How many people do you know with families that are divorced because they're trying to force love? I know a lot of families right now, and that was actually like my grandparents were a big reason why I stayed this way was I didn't want to be like them. They're still living together, and I know they don't love each other. And it's like, do I want to be 65, 70, 75? With like great grandkids, like just kind of going through the motions? Like, so like that was a big motivation for me, cursing and a blessing, but I knew I needed something that was a lot more substantially emotionally evoking.
Yeah.
In a positive way. And it's, a lot of good rant right there about love because it's so crucial. But let's talk about, because the search for healing, it's great. I literally cannot wait to watch. I can't wait to be part of anything going on down in the long run.
For sure.
But let's continue talking about love within the communities because we talked a lot about us personally. And I would love to just talk about like the communal aspect of love. Like, because we talked earlier before. So for people listening, me and Tyler had a conversation about community love, just growing up in the like, let's say areas that don't have as much financial stability as other communities. And we just talked about like the absence of love and how it affects us and the presence of love and how it affects us. And like you said, you grew up in a home with like a lot of love.
Yeah. With like my parents and my brothers, we were all really close growing up. And like
shout out Marcus.
Yeah, shout out to Marcus. Get some Marky B's cookies.
Oh, hell yeah. We'll drop the link at the end.
Yeah. And my brother, Corey.
Shout out, Corey.
And so it was just this, it was almost like a sitcom type of, like Family Matters or something. Like we loved each other. And even my mom and dad, it was like they got along and stuff. And so that was comforting for me. But at the same time, I definitely had some friends and I knew people around the community that they had like the opposite of that. And I was always the type of kid that was like how other people felt, it would affect me.
Yeah.
And
I
couldn't just brush it off. I had to see.
You had to help.
Yeah, I had to see what was going on. And I had conversations. Well, I had some friends that went through a lot, and even just associates in the community and stuff like that. And I realized like how troubled a lot of community members ended up being. But how good their hearts were. Like,
oh my God.
Some of the people that I would trust with my life come from North Preston. Like, that's where I trust the most people.
Seriously, no, I couldn't agree with you more because when I was partying my most and I was at my lowest point in my life between like, let's just say between 20 and 25, when I used to go to my buddy's house where I shouldn't have been in the first place. I remember saying to Emma, like, I was upset because I would leave there. I was more comfortable there. I was more comfortable in a trap house.
Wow.
Like, these guys, like, were doing their thing, da-da-da-da-da. And, like, it's no different than what we see growing up. And I just remember, like, I could grab a blanket, lay on that floor, and go to sleep and feel safe. Because I know the situation.
Yeah.
And that's when I really realized, like, this is fucked up. Like, and because like you said, like, they have great fucking hearts.
Yeah.
They're pure. I trust them with my life.
Yeah.
and they're just caught up in the only grooves and conditions they understand.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing about it to me is that if they were given 30 seconds to show a different skeleton or different condition, the same principles that they are applying to their day-to-day lives, they would be multimillionaires in every other aspect.
Oh man, a lot of them.
And yeah, like it's just crazy because like back to what you said, like very, very, very fucking troubled, but great fucking people.
Yeah.
All of my home core group that I call my boys, Jared, Jordan, or Jared, Julian, and Jeff, like they're my guys, and they're all from that area, from my community, on my street.
Yeah.
So like we just have that mutual understanding and that mutual heart, and I just couldn't agree with you more that like this, if there's more tools and resources in these fucking areas.
Yeah.
Like I every time I think about these communities, and it's not as severe as I'm about to say it, but it's like, you ever hear about that saying where it's like the cure to cancer is in the poor man's head?
Yeah.
It's so fucking true. I'm poor.
Yeah.
I come from poor. I come from poverty. I come from social assistance and welfare.
Yeah.
And I feel like I was never worthy of a lot of stuff just based on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I talk and I feel like some people are like, holy shit, like you're very valuable with some of the stuff you're saying. And like, I'll let you speak to that on your own. But it's so fucking true. And that's why I want to help with these communities, because there's so many people down there in these communities that if they were to get the chance to have that some of these other communities have, I think that like, I know for a fact everything would elevate in these communities. And like, that's why actually this is what I want to plan on doing is like, I want to help these communities and try to get some more regulations for just all these communities in general. So like we can get more exposure for sports. There's a lot of gifted fucking athletes in these communities.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of like not even just music, but like any other type of literature. Like a lot of people are very good at writing.
Poetry.
That's what I mean, like poetry, like all that stuff. So it's like we just need more platforms to give these guys opportunities on top of it being safe.
Yes.
Because that's the big thing is that.
Yeah, that's important.
A lot of these people in these communities don't want to speak up because it takes so much courage to speak up. But in a society that tells you to shut down 3 times before you even hear yes. Like even when you do sales, they teach you, you're going to get 3 no's before you get a yes. So it's like they don't apply that to the same avenue in these communities that like, hey, while you're coming out of the mud or the dirt that people are saying, you're going to have to ask for help 3 times before we even hear you ask. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, but the first time they ask for help is usually the breaking point. So it's too late.
That's so true. Oh, that's so true.
It's too late.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to spark change with. And I know that's what we're going to do. And you're already starting that change.
We're definitely going to spark change with that. I think about the community and how, like you talk about the opportunities, the resources and stuff like that. And I think growing up, I think in general, we kind of, like moving out of North Preston, I was like, okay, I'm ready to take on the world type of thing. I'm like, I'm trying to make it, whatever make it means. And then there's like these people with so much money. And you're like, man. Okay, so I gotta kind of figure out how to work with these people and so I can get it.
Seriously, that's facts.
It's interesting. It's because growing up, you're like taught, be honorable, have integrity.
The core values.
There's a certain way that you treat somebody in general. Like there's a certain way that a man interacts with another man. Like you don't like do certain things that's gonna psychologically mess with them. Or that's.
Well, I think if we pause for that for a second, because I don't think many other communities have that type of self-awareness with men and masculinity. What I mean by that is like, we come from an area where there's not very much tools or resources. Our word is our bond. So we have to stand with our chin.
Yeah.
What we say might come back and hit us type stuff. Whereas people can speak more freely. So I feel like
Yeah.
they get away with more mind manipulation through other men to kind of get what they need, where we come from a community that your first word sets the tone. Because I don't know about you, but like, I already know you're going to agree with me for the most part, but like growing up, I've watched more people fight at the drop of a dime from a misunderstanding.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
All
Just
the
based
time.
on like proven, like just standing up for their grounds because that's all they had.
Yeah.
So to grow up and go into these communities, I find that's what my biggest issue was a little bit was, I don't want to say no one got punched, but like, it's just like, there's a lot more freedom to discuss certain topics. And there's a lot more like elasticity in these conversations.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas like, I wasn't prepared for that. When I got to college and university, I was not prepared for that. I had a big revelation trying to understand, because again, like me being white with black brothers coming from my community, the white people would talk to me as if like I didn't understand black struggle.
Oh, okay.
You know, so like that on top of that, on top of like just like the mind manipulation when I'm trying to talk about just like, hey, like, what are you guys doing tonight? Or like, what are you guys doing in life? Like, and I remember just being there confused at like wing night. I know it's kind of like a side tangent, but I remember this guy, because I was 17 or 18. So I was very new to this. And this is the first time I ever hung with any group of people. And I'll never forget, it was Bubba Ray's, they shut down. And I remember I was sitting there and like, these guys didn't really know who my brothers were yet. They didn't know where I was from. They just knew me as a college classmate.
Yeah.
And I remember they said a lot of racial stuff, like opinionated stuff that I was just like, man, like if you knew what I didn't say much, you know what I mean? And then the other one that kind of fucked me over was a kid was like, I gotta go back. I gotta go aside. I gotta call my mom. Okay, that's weird. Calls his mom and they're like, yeah, he does this every Thursday. I was like, what do you mean does this every Thursday? Calls his mom to get money.
Interesting.
Like he just almost like heartstring pulls her strings and just makes her feel bad. It's sobby and just got money. And I was just like so thrown off because I'm sitting there paying this shit with my student loan money. I'm like, I'm on borrowed money already at 17 years old. I was already 10K in debt. Like 17 years old, I had 8K sent to my bank account and the rest sent to NSCC. I already started off negative. And then these guys were like, had their...
You started off negative too.
That's what I mean. So that was like, so literally like if from that day that I'm talking about, just having by Bubba Ray's eating wings, if you subtract 6 months, I would have been just graduating high school, living at home, no different than Pinecrest, Primrose, and a little bit of like other cultures in terms of just high school. You know what I mean? Because you get people from other schools and different communities and stuff.
Yeah.
But that's all I ever knew. And then all of a sudden I'm sitting deep within, I felt like enemy lines, being like completely confused because I'm sitting there like, I would love all of you guys, but you guys are saying so many things that I just don't understand.
Yeah.
And that's what my biggest thing, I wasn't prepared for that because I just, again, going back to the other conversation we had, like, I grew up without a present mother for the first little bit of my life and never had a present father. So I assumed when I got to families that were married, they were happy. They had love. They had a good dad. They had a good mom. But that wasn't it. So, like, I feel like on top of us having so much adversity in certain aspects, it's honestly, we don't have much adversity in the communities we're talking about. It's more so just lack of tools and resources that creates the adversity. That being paired with trying to understand the transition of being a young adult, young man, young student, young aspired, whatever I want to be. That's what caused me to spiral. I would like that would be one of the biggest notches because we joked that 17 years old or 18 we're starting. We're already in more debt than half of these people are ever gonna be.
Yeah,
like ever.
That's so true. Yeah, that's wild to think of.
Yeah,
I never really thought of it that way, but that's true.
At 17 and 18 years old, at me starting NSCC at the Waterfront campus, I was already in more debt than my girlfriend is currently. She's 25, 26, I don't know, whatever. Like, already more debt than her at 17. So 10 years ago in her life, I already had more debt than she already has, and she's had a life to live a little bit. And I've already had more at 17. And if anyone listening, best believe I got more.
I was in so much debt that I forgot how much it was. Like, I was just like, okay, set up the payments. We're going to figure it out.
I find the craziest thing about that, though, is I came from no money. So to me, having debt was better than what they had, than what my family had. So I felt like I always felt financially burdened with it, but it didn't bug me because, like, look where I live.
Yeah.
Look at the quality of life I can maintain. I only have debt because, one, of how I grew up. Like,
Yeah.
I had no resources. I moved several times. I paid for it all myself.
Yeah.
Like, and like, yeah, cool. I did a Europe trip. I probably shouldn't have done, but whatever. It just, like, it is what it is. But, like, I think it's just, I can't even really know what I was going with that. It's shitty, but it's still more comforting than not having any money.
100%.
Because I know I can keep going backwards with this.
Yeah.
And maintain this, and no one will even know. It's marketing.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure a lot of people will listen to this and be like, "Holy shit, this guy has debt," because they may be following me on Instagram last year and think that I'm Jim. They might think I'm a millionaire, living this life every day, and I still have a regular job and do this stuff like that. But I just don't share things that are irrelevant. But I think that was my breaking point, was because it's like, well, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
Like, these guys have everything I want, but they don't even act like they even have it. So why am I even working for it? And I'm already, like, more debt than every single one of these kids are going to be.
Yeah.
So then that was my big revelation. I was just sitting there and I was just like, well, now what? 20, 21 years old. And I was like, and then the biggest thing is I went to St. Mary's. Let's go, like, 2-2 program. That's what they sold you on. That's 2-2 program. Easy 2 years at NSCC, easy 2 years at St. Mary's.
Oh, okay.
4-year degree. You got a business degree and a college and a university. But what they don't tell you, this is crazy. When you go to university, not all your credits transfer. Yeah, no one tells you that. Not one person tells you that.
Damn.
So then I go to NSCC thinking it's a clean cut 2 years in and out. And meanwhile, during this time, I went through a breakup. I moved out of, like, a home that I lived in for 5 years. Moved back in for the first time in my life. I lived with my mom besides, like, 10 months in Toronto. Like, a lot of changes over this time. So, like, it was a lot of it's not just me going down.
Yeah.
And I was just like, so I had to go to left NSCC and I did SMU. So this is the kicker that just drives me nuts, which is why anyone listening that misery loves company in terms of the education system, if they have any, like, negative with it. But I went, and I remember I went to quantitative methods, I think the class was. And it was Quant 2, quantitative methods 2. I went up to it, and I didn't understand a fucking lick of it. And I remember I went up to the teacher, and the teacher was a fucking asshole. She literally looked at me, and she said, all you NSCC students come over here and have no clue what you guys are doing.
Really?
And I'm like, so who failed who here?
Yeah.
I got a degree. Like, what? Like, so
Exactly.
so apparently what happened was there's a Quant 1, and I hope someone from NSCC and SMU listens to this or just gets a snippet of it to change it. But Quant 1, you can get at NSCC, but it's not taught the same as the university level. So you go from Quant 1 college level to Quant 2 university level. Then there's the big gap of the how to learn. So anyways, that's irrelevant, but I didn't understand it. So I took it 3 times. And long story short, after going back and forth, I was like, man, fuck this. Because, like, first of all, college is a lot like high school. They kind of help you a little bit. University is like, here's a syllabus. If you want to pass, God bless you.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was like, this is just fucked up. But the thing that I want to pay attention to with the financial burden of this, because it's a big burden of mine. I'll be transparent. I got a lot of debt with student loans, and I'm not going to say the number. I'll tell you off it. I just won't want to share it because people probably run out of context. I don't give a fuck. But let's just say, out of all of my debt for Nova Scotia or for, like, the federal student loan system, I don't, like, hold on, how much is it? 20% of my debt is NSCC for my student loans.
Wow.
And I can only put that on a resume. I can't even put St. Mary's on a resume because I didn't graduate. But the reason why I didn't graduate, I have 9 credits at St. Mary's right now. Guess how many of those are electives that they were trying to make me do East Asian history for 6 of them. I have 9 credits and I need 7 electives. I think 6 or 7 electives. There's only 3 or 4 main courses for my main degree. But because I took the other courses at NSCC that they didn't want to tell me about transitioning, I had to go apply at St. Mary's. My first year at St. Mary's cost like $5,000 more than both at NSCC. So if somebody was there to tell me not to go to St. Mary's, I would have no student loans right now. My student loans would be paid off.
Damn.
But instead I have a nice car that I'm paying for.
Yeah.
And I'm not driving it. Yeah. So, like, that's like so that's like, so, like, me, I'm 23 years old. decided, like, I went to SMU twice. I tried.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I dropped out. I was like, fuck this. Kind of went, like, soul searching and stuff like that. I work
How old are you right now?
27.
27. Yeah.
I worked 32 hours a week at a full-time job and went to school full-time, living, like, on my own. Living with my mom a little bit, but, like, I was still trying to get that degree because as a man in society, I felt inferior if I didn't get any of this.
Yeah.
But if someone was to just sit there and be like, hey, like, you don't need to do that. Like, because now I'm using my degree from NSCC. I don't use fuck all from SMU.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's not one good thing from SMU I have. Besides, like, maybe one teacher that when I was talking to him, he was cool. Literally. But if there was, like, someone to just say, like, maybe stop after community college or look, like, if there was just one piece of guidance that could have saved me 20 to 30 grand. And it's just, that's what we're talking about in terms of these communities lacks the resources.
It's true. Yeah, man.
I was the first one in my family to go to college.
Wow.
No one graduated high school.
Damn.
You know what I mean? So it's like, for me to sit there and have all this debt with student loans, like, that's a win for me.
Yeah.
You know? But
That's
it's like,
the thing.
against society, I'm a major loser.
Yeah.
I can't get fuck all.
Which is so weird. Like,
yeah,
it's weird. Ugh. That's interesting, man.
So that was my biggest, I know I kind of went on a rant now of that little ramble, but that's just like, there's so much in those few examples I just gave, like, those happen every day. So from 17, as us trying to figure out who we are as men, you're graduating high school next year. Every day we're dealing with these. That same situations, those type of situations every day.
Yeah.
And then it's like I remember, like, I had a buddy that came into college with me, and he was like, yeah, Dad paid for it just because he doesn't want me to be a bullshit worker for his company. He's like, so he's making me come and get this degree, so if he wants to give me his business, he knows I have education to do it.
Interesting.
I've
heard that before.
And he didn't give a fuck about school. I sat beside him every day. So I have, like, all this debt. Let's say a Lamborghini car worth of debt. And this guy's like, yeah, Dad gave me a handful of 20s this week because I need to drive school.
Wow. And
I'm just sitting there like, he leaves in his car that he paid for, or his dad paid for, whatever. I don't know who, he lied about it all. Who gives a fuck about that guy? But it's just funny because, like, no one talks about that. Every day I went and talked to these guys that were like, yeah, fuck this school. I don't even want to be here, but Dad's paying for it, da-da-da. And I'm like, bruh, you know what I would do to change that?
Damn. Yeah. Like, for me, that wasn't even an option. Like, it was like going through, like, junior high and high school. I'm like, oh, we got to get a loan if I want to go to post-secondary school.
Yeah,
I have to.
Yeah.
There's no other option. Or I get a scholarship for being really good at sports or something like that.
100%.
And that's how all of my friends were. And then, I guess I started meeting. Well, I already had some friends, like, outside the community and stuff from playing hockey and stuff like that. But as they got older, I was realizing, oh, you don't need to take out a loan. Like, that's like a thing for a lot of families. Like, for me, I was like, oh, this is just what people do.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, that's why I got the student loan. It was just like, if you want to go anywhere, there's the link.
Yeah.
Period. There's no, like, I'm still mind blown at today. Like, I just, but that's, I don't even go on that little tangent. Like, I love that we had to go through all that because I look at everybody differently. You know what I mean? Like, look at us talking about what we're talking about now. And that's so powerful because you can't buy the shit that we're talking about.
You can't.
You can't go and take a course anywhere to talk about the stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
You either get it or you don't.
Yeah.
And that's what I love because there's like, maybe some people may think we're talking down on these people that get a lot of financial help. That's not what it is. Not at all. There's a lot of people that I know that get a lot of money from a lot of people in their family and they break that bread with everybody.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking great.
Yeah.
And it's like I have one of my best friends and he knows he's wealthy. He knows his family has money. And when we all hang out, he's like, don't worry about it. And it's not from a negative thing. It's just he understands.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. And I think that's what, like, I don't think I know. That's kind of like the premise of the conversation is like search for healing, the lack of tools and resources. If there was even one pamphlet that was smacked across our forehead in grade 7, you know what I mean? Being like, even if it just said, That's not the only option.
Mm,
Even if it just said that.
yeah.
Even if it just said that is not the only option. That would change. I'm confident
That would have changed
everything.
I got a question. So how do you feel? Like growing up, how you grew up and
Yeah.
like being in different spaces with people, like, and being a man, like how, in the way that society is today,
Mm-hmm.
how do you feel being a man? Like, how does it, do you feel afraid to be vulnerable at times? Is it like hard at
I
times?
feel the great thing about my journey is that it has allowed me to not look at society as a dictator of what I'm going to feel.
Mm,
It has allowed me to view society as a blueprint for the world, and that things will always win with the bigger number.
mm,
So what I mean by that is that the majority of vote will always win.
yeah.
So I think I just increased my education with the way the society and the world runs and the systematic issues with being a man. And then I just kind of like self-defined around that, because I think it's very hard to be a man
Yeah.
because there's so many, back like let's say 20 years ago, it was just men. So I feel like talking about being a man now is a little bit of a sensitive subject, because it's like, but what about, and then it's like fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And I think the reason why I don't really care about society in terms of that is because I feel like being a man is just being genuine, being honest, a caretaker of some sort, because men do have that natural biological need to shelter and take care of people.
Yeah.
And I feel like they just need to be taught impeccable integrity.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm using to self-define myself as a man is, am I happy? Am I making the people around me happy?
Mm-hmm.
Do I love myself? Do I love the people around me? And am I positively affecting everyone else? Because as a man, you do have an obligation to stand tall when others don't.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when push comes to shove, you're expected to. But if you're not boxing your corner to stand, you're asked why you're standing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with today's society, it's very soft and brittle. So when somebody stands tall as a man, one, most people's first reaction is to say, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Because the man has been speaking for eternity, which I understand. But the other one too is the definition of a man. There is no definition of a man. And I think that's what society plays on, is the idea of what people think a man is. And then what you say your answer is what they'll just change it on.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, it did. That was a really good answer. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Even just hearing your answer to like being a man, like people don't, that's not like a normal thing for people to just ask and get a real answer to, because of the way that men are viewed for valid reasons. But also it's like, we can't just like, oh, men did this wrong, let's not listen to them. So that's why I asked that question.
We'll end it there.
Appreciate
But
that.
I got 5 questions I got to ask you.
Oh, okay.
Rapid questions. I'm going to end on that, but I got to, I love that we ended on that, but I want this to be great, because these are just like kind of removes us from the heavyweight of the conversations. But you as Tyler Simmonds, how do you define your success?
How do I define my success?
Yeah.
That's a hard one to answer.
For the people out there, to help them find their success.
How do I define my success? My success is not, it's not what I thought that it would be in the past. Like growing up, I was like, oh, this is success, like getting a Bentley or something.
I had a conversation on the last podcast. I said, I thought I defined my success by getting a BMW.
Mine was a Mercedes SLS 6. I had I had the picture on my wall and stuff. But like mine now, it's being able to move in different circles and do it real. Do it as myself.
Be unapologetically you.
Yeah.
Dope. Next question. What does self-love mean to you?
What does it mean to me? It means treating me the way that I would treat others when they are in need.
Best advice you have ever received?
It was definitely in 2020 when I was in a really dark place. Had some rumors going around, people saying things that were untrue. And I was laying down with Lisa. I was so depressed. And I just kept talking about it. I'm like, oh man, like, I don't understand this. I don't understand this. What is going on? And she looks at me and she's like, Tyler, don't be a bitch. Remember who you are. And just keep going. So that's what I think now, too, when I'm like, when I'm in situations and I'm like, I got to be myself. But sometimes it's scary being yourself because it's like, oh, is someone going to take it the wrong way? But I think about what Lisa said. She's like, don't be a bitch. Just be you.
Be unapologetically you.
Yeah.
And we'll end it right there. It's done. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.